Hello, everyone. My name is Paradise, and again, I would like to welcome you to another episode of the Sustainability Squad. Join me as usual today is my colleague, Evere Owe. Over to you, Evere.
Hi, it's good to be here again, and it's always a pleasure to have you. Yes, and today we have a very informative, educative topic, and we want to talk about the Sustainable Development Goals, as you can already see on our screen. Yes, and I just want to talk about the goals. We want to educate the public, community members, everybody and anybody who wants to, really understand what's these SDG goals we've been talking about. What is it really? You know, yeah, and how does it concern us in Africa? Is it really our business or is it not? Yes, so and that is the reason why we are hosting this section today. If this is something you're interested in knowing, if you have any questions, please don't forget to ask us, send us your questions in the comment section, and we'll always address it in the coming episode. Yeah, and so we're talking about the sustainable development goals today. And yes, let's dive right into the section. Yes, so what are the SDGs? What is this sustainable development goals? So now these Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs for short, is also known as the global goals, right? And it's a universal call for action adopted by the United Nations in 2015 to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that by 2030, all people all over the world enjoy peace and prosperity. So they represent a shared vision for a more equitable and resilient world. So what's all this grammar about? In other words, the United Nations, right, came together in 2015 and decided to come up with smart goals, right? That if the whole world, if we are all able as a people to reach these goals by 2030, the world will be a better place. So the goals are 17 of them. And yeah, so I hope this made sense, right? So, but the plan is if you're able to achieve these entire goals, 17 goals, these 17 goals you're seeing now, the projection is that by 2030, if you're able to do this, the world will be a better place. So, what are the goals? The first one is no poverty. So, we're not going to be giving in-depth explanation of these goals individually. I'm just going to list them, right, for you. But you can also always just check out the picture online or even just take a screenshot of this one we have here and on your own just go through it and get familiar with the goals. Yeah, so we have no poverty, we have zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry innovation and infrastructure, reduced inequalities, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace and justice, strong institutions, partnership for the goals. Right. So, and to be honest, I'm going to give it to the UN because for me, this is really thorough. Yeah, they really did.
Awesome.
Took a lot of research, years and years of research, and I'm sure that whoever, whatever team that put this together, they really put their hearts into it. They really put their heart into it. So yes, let's just give it to them. They did a good job. And yeah, so let's talk about the pillars. The pillars of these entire goals. What are they? What's the foundation of these goals? So they're all based on ensuring peace, global peace, ensuring prosperity for all people, ensuring that that people are at the center of every decision we make, every choices we make as a nation, as a community, that we put people, the best interest of people at the heart of every decision, the planet, and then partnership as well. So these are the pillars. These are the pillars. The pillars are like the foundation, the core values that prompted these goals coming into place.
Just before we move to the next slide, I just wanted to, because people often like group these goals according to the pillars as well. You
Okay,
see,
okay.
we just like wanted to see if we can group these goals. So when you hear peace, which of these
Yeah.
goals are aligned to oh, where are we? I'm sorry about that. So when you hear peace, which of these goals align to or reflect peace? So I don't know if you would like to take that or if it's okay for me. Would you like to take that or should I?
Okay, we can do it together. You
All
can
right.
just you can start. Let's do it together.
All right. Okay. So let's look at peace. Which goal do you, okay, this is like a game. People watching can actually join. So which of the goals do you think will fall under the pillar peace?
Um,
I think goal 16.
16. Yeah, 16.
Yeah. Peace, justice, and strong institution. And
Mm.
another pillar, the next one we have there is prosperity. So which goals do you think falls under prosperity? I think there are two goals under prosperity.
Okay, no poverty.
Nope, that is under people.
Okay. Oh,
So
okay, okay. Prosperity. Okay. Decent work and economic growth.
that is it. Yes, that is one. And the second
Okay.
one is industry
Industry,
innovation.
innovation, and infrastructure.
That is excellent. Yeah. So I think you should
Okay.
ask me, maybe, I don't know. So the goals
This
under people.
it's good. That one is too easy.
Okay, let's answer that together and then you ask me for maybe planet. So for people,
Okay.
you already answered the first one.
No
No
poverty.
poverty,
Mm.
um, zero hunger,
Zero hunger.
good health and well-being,
Yeah.
quality
Quality
education, and
education,
gender equality.
gender equality. Yeah.
Yeah, it actually makes sense. The first five is under people.
On people. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Which is
first
very
five.
thoughtful. Which is very thoughtful.
Yeah, the first five is for people, and planet is obvious as well. I think planet
Yeah.
is obvious. So it should be the last, the three before the last two. So that's goal 13, climate action,
Climate action, life below
life below
water,
water, life on land.
life on land.
Yeah. And partnership is just goal 17. Yeah.
So, but there are some goals that did not fall under the pillars.
Which one?
Clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy,
Yes, it should be under
reduce
planet.
inequality.
Yes.
I think reducing inequality should be under people. I don't know.
No,
What do you think?
I think reduced inequality should be under, I don't know. Reduced inequality should be under prosperity, actually. Because if we are going to this is what how I say it is, I think it's under prosperity. Because if we are going to
Okay.
prosper as a people, we need to reduce inequality. We need to carry everybody along.
Inclusivity.
Yes. And that is now across both gender, economic strength. Inequality just has to be reduced or be, eradicated if possible. But people
Disability,
is gender equality, yes. And you
age, discrimination,
exactly. Yes. And you raised the point, the clean water and sanitation and affordable clean energy is under planet.
other planet, yes.
Yes.
Other planet.
Even sustainable communities and cities, goal 11, under planet. Yeah. Okay, I think that
Sustainable,
was,
sustainable communities, yeah. Yeah, it's on that planet, yes.
yeah, it's under planet. Yeah. That's okay. It's good to like, that was an interesting game. All right. Okay. There we go. So, all right. So, just to continue from where you stopped on the SDGs. So just like every good goal, every smart goal, we need to find a way to measure progress or impact or, measure the progress of what we're doing. So the SDG is not left behind. One way to narrow down this goal, make it like put it in like smaller chunks that we need to focus on and achieve is by breaking them down into targets. So that's why each of the goals have their targets. And we'll first of all look at those targets. And we're just taking an example from goal one. I don't know if this is visible enough, but okay, thank you so much. So, like I was just saying, like any goal, it will be important to like break it into smaller chunks, like smaller achievable goals to be able to like get like the big goal. And what we did with the SDGs or what the UN and member nations did with the SDGs is to like set up targets for each of the goals. And we are going to just take an example with goal number one, which is no poverty. And we've left you like a link, a resource where you can go read up the target for other ones. So let's say you're advocating for no poverty or you're interested in helping the world to achieve SDG goal number one. These are like the targets broken down. The overall goal is to end poverty in all its forms everywhere. Now we have targets that will help us know if we've achieved this goal or not. So target 1.1 is that by 2030, we hope to eradicate extreme poverty for all people everywhere. Currently measured as people living on less than $1.25 a day. And then goal target 1.2 of this goal is also that by 2030 that we reduce at least by half the proportion of men, women, and children of all ages living in poverty in all its dimensions according to national definitions. So this shows that we'll still come down to these national definitions because every member state have their own target as well. They have their own plans, which they've designed to fit into these general global goals. So target 1.3 is to implement nationally appropriate social protection systems and measures for all, including flaws, and by 2030, achieve substantial coverage of the poor and the vulnerable. And target 1.4 is that by 2030, ensure that all men and women, in particular, the poor and vulnerable, have equal rights to economic resources, as well as access to basic services, ownership and control over land and other forms of property, inheritance, natural resources, appropriate new technology, and financial services, including microfinance. And target 1.5 of the goal one is that by 2030, that we would have to build the resilience of the poor and those in vulnerable situations and reduce their exposure and vulnerability to climate-related extreme events and other economic, social, and environmental shocks and disaster. And then we have target 1.8, ensure significant mobilization of resources from a variety of sources, including through enhanced development cooperation, in order to provide adequate and predictable means for developing countries, in particular least developed countries, to implement programs and policies to end poverty in all its dimensions. And finally, on target 1.B, the target is to create sound policy frameworks at the national, regional, and international levels based on proper and gender-sensitive development strategies to support accelerated investment in poverty eradication actions. This may sound like a lot. So we've left you a link just here. We've left you a link just by the side under targets where you have access to the rest of the targets for all the goals. and you take your time to like digest them, understand them, especially for people who advocate for the accomplishment of the SDGs or who want to contribute to community development in their communities. It is important that you have an in-depth understanding of what you're advocating for. That way you would know, you will even get to know like your national targets or your national frameworks, or if your nation to start with has even taken this seriously across the goals, what are they doing? How are they contributing to achieving this target? So we just wanted to like leave this here. And then we'll also look at the indicators, which is very similar to the targets we've just seen. So we've seen the goals and we've seen the targets. How do we know that we are making progress towards achieving these targets and the goals? Is by looking at the indicators, the goal indicators. So we first of all look at the global indicator framework. I've just added this here to just give you an idea of what this is. So the Global Indicator Framework for Sustainable Development Goals, they were first developed in March of 2017, and it was agreed upon on the 48th session of the United Nations Statistical Commission in that was the same March 2017. And these indicators, there are also national indicators which governments or individual nations have developed to help them track their progress of the targets and the goals. And this is like global indicators, and national indicators are meant to align to the global indicator framework, which was later adopted on the 6th of July 2017 by the UN General Assembly. As this framework contains the resolution adopted by the General Assembly on work of the Statistical Commission pertaining to the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development Goal. So what the SDG indicators are generally just that they're like monitoring and evaluation tool. Let me put it that way. They help us to see, oh, we are doing good here. We're not doing so well here. This is what we've done at this
KPIs,
time. Sorry?
like KPIs.
Exactly. I think that is the word, not I think that is the word. So they kind of help us figure out how well we've done and identify where we are lacking. So if you just need to know more about these indicators, you see the link here where it's under indicators. You go there, you see the rest of it for all the goals. So moving forward, we'll look at sustainable development because
Yeah, I wanted to add something before you move
all
to
right.
the next thing. Yeah, so I feel like to give better context, to the impacts of the sustainable development goals, because sometimes we just talk about them and it sounds all formal and
Yeah.
official. But I want us, especially those of us in the developing countries, to understand how much the SDGs has really impacted us. There are so many opportunities that are springing up now,
Yeah.
and we don't know why. It's like so many nations have scholarship opportunities. There are lots of, opportunities for you to explore other nations, economic development, education opportunities all over the world suddenly. And every single one of them are all trying to follow these SDGs, right? So, for instance, I myself, I know that the ISA program I was currently on, International Sustainability Academy, they were
Yeah.
very, very key on the SDGs. Yeah, so they were very key on the SDGs, and every single thing, every single opportunity I got to have on that program was courtesy of these SDGs,
Yeah.
because they wanted to be sure they are making significant impact in my life and not for me to impact other people in my nation.
Yeah.
So let us not take it lightly. I just want to put that out. Let's not take it lightly, because we think it's about JAPA. It's not about JAPA. Sometimes it's not just because they want you to come and work in their country. It's
Yeah.
because they are member nations of the United Nations, and they are obligated. They're
Yes.
obligated by law to do these things, whether they like it or not, is obligated to have a portion of their budget to put into developing nations. So we should be grateful to United Nations for these SDGs. And I also think, and I also think that as people if you're somebody that is into the development sector, working on developing projects and trying to impact your community, I also think it's important, if you can, take up one of the SDGs. Where your area of interest, the goals you intend to tackle.
Yeah.
Just let's be intentional. Pick up one of the targets of your goal of interest, and you just work on that particular target, and then look at the indicators, so that I feel like it's going to help us to make significant
Yes.
as in impacts. Yeah, it's going to help us make significant, because when you're able to measure it, you know exactly what you're looking at achieving. You know
Yeah.
exactly, can say if you're making progress or not. If you're just busy having projects and doing activities without really making lasting impact.
Exactly. And you will know who to connect with, because some of the things we will need the government to do their bit, like
Yeah.
signing in, letting policies through and the rest of it. You will know when to advocate, and you will know when to act, and you will know when to implement. And
Yeah.
yes. So please go ahead. I was just
No,
enjoying.
no, I'm done. I'm done. I
All
think we should
right.
go over to the next. Yeah.
Thank you. So, just to add to what Ebere just said, I want us to have a look at what exactly sustainable development is. We've been saying sustainable development goals. Why do we even have these goals? What is sustainable development? Why is it important? So, in a very simple term, I'll just try to explain what sustainable development goal is. Sustainable development, simply put, is a development that meets the needs of the current generation without compromising the ability of the future generation to develop or have access to the resources they need to develop. What do I mean by this? For instance, we should be able to access minerals or natural resources in ways that help our economies to thrive, our environment to survive, and our societies to evolve and develop without ruining the environment in a way that will stop the generation coming from being able to use the same resources or have access to the same resources to develop or to sustain themselves in their own time. So I'm just going to zoom this in for those who would like to read alongside myself. So, sustainable development is basically shared into three major frameworks, which you would see here on this side of this slide. You see social, economy, and environment, and in the middle you have SD, which is sustainable development. So let's quickly have a look at what social sustainability means. So social sustainability is just the idea that people are significant by, it incorporates the idea that people are significant simply by highlighting the importance of accessibility, participation, empowerment, cultural identity, and equity. It implies a system of social organization that eliminates poverty and its influence, but in such a way that does not lead to unstable economies or environmental harm. So when you talk about sustainable development and you talk about the social aspect of sustainable development, which is social sustainability, it simply means we are saying people need to survive. People need to develop. People need to be out of poverty, but they do not need to destroy economies or environments to do that. So an example you can look at here is, for instance, there's been argument about how sustainable developing countries can, develop. without ruining although that I wouldn't even want to go that way, Ebere. I wouldn't want to raise that debate now, but what it simply means is
Yeah,
people should be able to have access to their basic needs to survive
yeah,
and live a decent life, but not in
where they
a
are.
way that harms either the economy or the environment. They don't need to steal or engage in fraud, you know, tax evasion and the rest of it to survive, because that will be hurting the economy. And at the same time, they don't need to like do a lot of extraction, beyond recommended thresholds just because they want to survive. And again, we look at economic sustainability. That's the economic aspect of sustainable development. Economic sustainability suggests the process of production that allows consumption to be satisfied now without jeopardizing future needs. For us, this is not unquestionable reality. However, it was previously assumed that nature's resources were endless and that the economy would grow hand in hand with technology that could replace the resources exhausted by production. But that is not the case. And we've had to like put like a massive strain on what the environment can provide. So another way, an example for this is over extraction of natural resources. People feel like, let's say, for instance, lead, gold, or whatever deposit you have does not finish. So because it's natural and it can't finish, we just keep digging up, we keep extracting lead, for battery production and the rest of it. We just keep going and going and going and going as long as we can extract. But that is not the case. These resources actually do finish. We have come to realize that now. Research has shown that they actually do finish. And imagine using it up, using it all up, and we still have generations coming 100, 200 centuries, 3 centuries from now. What are they going to use if we use that all up? So that is simply what the economic sustainability is saying. We can still go ahead and produce our batteries. We can still go ahead and get these resources and develop our economy and produce whatever we need to produce. But we don't have to go beyond the planetary boundaries. We don't need to go beyond accepted thresholds and just like extract resources or minerals without conscience. We don't. Another thing about consumption as well is you don't, when you talk about sustainable consumption in this context again, you don't just go ahead and like buy or produce and buy things because you can. You see, for instance, you see people that like go on and buy like 1,000 clothes in a year or in 6 months. It is not responsible consumption. What are you doing with 1,000 clothes and 50,000 designers bag when it takes like hundreds of liters of water to make jeans or maybe or the fabric you need? So you need to look at your consumption and you need to also look at what you're buying. When you review the things you're buying, are they sustainably sourced? Are the materials sustainably sourced? Are they sustainably produced? Is the whole chain of production sustainable? If you begin to like focus on patronizing people or products that are sustainably processed or produced, you would encourage more people, to go into economic sustainability. And we'll also look at the environmental aspect. So environmental sustainability emphasizes the boundaries of the natural environment and how Earth systems have a balance that needs to be maintained. This sphere relates to the carrying capacity of the environment. That is to say, the maximum size a population can be and still be sustained by the environment. Natural capital has to be used in such a way that resources have time to regrow faster than they are consumed. Just as important is the way we handle waste. Waste should be discarded no faster than the environment can digest it. So what are we saying? So you would have heard me mention planetary boundaries earlier. The earth has its boundaries. So there are just extreme where we cannot reach in terms of maybe extraction or even sustaining the environment. And a good example as seen here is waste. We should not just keep disposing things like every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday because we can afford to, without considering how the environment will react to that. There are biodegradable wastes, but because they are biodegradable does not mean we should like keep them all over every minute of the day. We should give the environment time to recover, to heal from extraction, from dumping before we go ahead to extract more or dump more. So that is simply what we mean by the environmental sustainability aspect of sustainable development. So I believe this has like put this in perspective or explain this relatively to anyone who is listening today. And then we would also look at the next thing, which is why are the SDGs important for our communities? First of all, I would say our communities need to sustainably develop, and for communities outside the outside the developing region of the world, they need to sustainably exist. So why are the SDGs important for our communities? First is that they help to improve the quality of life for all residents. Imagine a world where there is no poverty. Like, imagine your community, no hunger, zero hunger. No poverty, zero hunger. Every child has access to quality and good education. Male, female, everybody is treated equal. There is gender equality. Imagine what we can achieve when we have like good health, access to quality health facilities. So if we achieve the SDGs, there is no doubt to how important it is for our respective communities, because like the first one says, it will improve the quality of life for everybody. It will also create a more sustainable and resilient local economy. Imagine if all these goals are achieved, businesses will thrive, both small businesses will thrive. Your village economy will, be booming, and your community economy will be booming. And consequently, it will reflect on the state and on the nation and that of the regional economy. And again, we'll also look at another reason why it is important is that it helps to protect our environment for future generations. Like I mentioned earlier when we talked about sustainable development, if we achieve the sustainable development goals, we'll be helping to protect the environment for generations to come. And finally, it helps us to contribute to a more just and peaceful world. Imagine a world where there is no war. Currently, look at what is happening in Gaza, Israel, Iran. No one, even Sudan has been at it, Syria has been at it, northern Nigeria, and conflicts in Benue. And, all over the world, there's just like conflicts, wars. And if we're able to achieve this and be able to each of these targets, and everybody will prosper, everybody will be all right. And it will help us to build institutions that will help to foster, a peaceful world, a just world. And just tell me, who would not want to exist in such a world? And yeah, so that's basically why these SDGs are important for us as human beings and our communities in general. And at this point, I know you'll be asking yourself, how can I even get involved? How do I contribute to achieving these important goals? What do I do? Must I found an NGO? How can I? The answer is just you don't have to like be a founder of an NGO. You don't have to like work with United Nations. You don't have to like, start from the top to change the world. You can actually begin to change the world from where you are. I think in development, the best approach for me is just like from bottom up. Start from exactly where you are. You could start by volunteering with local organizations, working on SDG related projects. There are people working on gender inclusion and equality, education, health, advocacy. Just identify a local organization working on SDG related project that is close to your heart or that you identify with and volunteer with them. You can also support local businesses committed to sustainability. So, like I mentioned earlier, you can decide to patronize local businesses that are, producing sustainable products or have like a sustainable production chain, instead of their counterparts that are not being sustainable. And you can also advocate for policies that advance the SDGs in our communities. There are lots of advocacies out there, but with these goals now, the targets and the indicators, if you study this following the resources we've shared and your own personal research, you would know where your countries or your states are in achieving these SDGs, policies that's been put in place, how functional are they. You can decide to become an advocate, use your social media, write to government, hold them accountable, rally people to join the advocacy, and see that policies that advance the sustainable development goals are made both within your community, your state, or even your country. And finally, educate yourself and others about the SDG. Learn, and do not stop learning. Use the resources we've shared. Go on Google, search about the Sustainable Development Goal, learn about them, and do well to like transfer this knowledge. Let people who do not know about this come to know about it. You may feel like, oh, they know it, they have Google. They may not know it. Just say it, teach them, bring it up during conversations and enlighten people. And just by doing that, you would not know how you would have contributed to seeing that the SDGs are achieved. And finally, incorporate sustainable practices in your daily life. Audit your waste. Don't just throw things away. Recycle your waste. Repurpose and reuse things that can be repurposed or reused. Do not just like litter your environment, because plastics and the rest of them that you litter end up in landfills, thereby causing even flooding and also damaging the environment, leading to poor yields for agricultural produce. If you're a farmer, for instance, or if you're a farm, how do you prepare your farms? What practices do you have? Are you using acid that are affecting the environment? Are your practices leading to like biodegradation and the rest of it? So just look into your practices on your daily day-to-day life, the products you buy, the products you use. It may sound petty to a lot of persons, but it's actually a very good way to contribute to achieving the SDGs. So at this point, I know you may have some questions or you may have like some contributions. Just do well, like Ebere said earlier, ask them and we'll be able to address them in the next episode. Ebere.
Yes, thank you very much. That was really in depth, and you see that last point you made about how to get involved and incorporating sustainable practices. I was just waiting, just waiting for that part. Yeah, it's really key. It doesn't make sense that the governments build roads, they put drainage systems, and then you empty your trash in the drainage. I
Totally.
mean, it's unreasonable. It's unreasonable. It just does not make sense. Yeah, so start by this. Let's start by disciplining ourselves. And yes, so yeah, that's most likely everything we have for you today. But there's a question that is still lingering in my heart. And I know that in the coming sections, we are going to handle this particular question. So, I mean, Nigerians, for instance, let me talk from the Nigerian point of view now. If you're Nigerian listening to us, do you think this goes is, you know, how you are like, there's nothing wrong with Isha, they did well, the goals are okay, but this thing is, it doesn't really concern us. You know, we have bigger problems than these things. Do you feel like that? Do you feel like these goals they are good though, they are cool, they are fancy, you know, they are very thoughtful, but then our problems are way bigger than these
Yeah.
ones. I mean, how do you feel about that? Let
Mm.
us know in the comment section as well. And in the coming episode, we're going to really address it. So we're going to talk about the goals with respect to Africa, with respect to Nigeria, with respect to the key issues we have, to see if these goals are really African, right? To see if they are really
Yeah,
African,
if they have us
and
in
to
mind.
see yeah, exactly, and to see if tackling these targets that we've listed is actually going to solve our problem, and to see
Yeah.
if the targets are even what we should be tackling. Abi, do we also have sub targets inside the targets that we should be tackling, as especially as Africans? Yeah, so we'll talk about this in the subsequent episodes. But for now, thank you very much for your rapt attention. Paradise, I believe this is it, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so thank you very much for paying attention, for giving us your time. And we hope this section was worth it for you. I will share the links that we have on the slides in the description um, button, in the description section of the video, or in the comments, wherever. So you can also go ahead and read up at your own convenience.
All right. Thank you very much. And bye, everyone.
Bye.